Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, a channel that celebrates authenticity and fan culture. Welcome to Thursday night news show. I say a news show. It's not going to be a news show because I'm just waiting to be interrupted by Jay or Sam. So I'll keep going for as long as I can. Mr. Sam McCabe and Don Motty, how we doing, lads? We good?
Don Motty, I like that one. That's a new one, isn't it? Don Motty, we'll have a bit of that.
I try something new every time.
What's this? What's this? You're waiting to be interrupted by us. We don't do that. So
you
rude.
can go back and watch the clips, mate, of when I've had you on. Three times at the start. Listen, mate, I don't care about your agenda. I don't want to talk about anything you've got. I don't want to talk about transfers. We're going to talk about biscuits or films or something along that fucking
I think we did Metro stops once for like 20 minutes.
Metro stops. That was
20
elite,
minutes.
That.
Yeah, 20 minutes.
Was it Exchange Key?
Yeah,
was the one
yeah, that's the one.
Settled on with all lights.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And forget about Pomona.
Okay.
Are you sat in a green screen?
No, I'm not. That's actually the colour of the wall.
It looks like you've got a green screen and you've got to turn on your green screen.
No. I know I am stupid, but that is literally the colour of the wall.
Right, okay.
So,
right, if you say
I don't know if it's, I don't know. Does it look bad as a green screen, Sam? Input?
No, I like the colour. I'm a big fan of green. So,
what room are you in?
I'm in our bedroom.
Right, okay. Yeah, no, it's all right. For I thought you was in your bathroom, but as a bedroom colour, it's it's bold. I like it.
Something I didn't have on me. Well, it kind of goes with the theme. It's green, gold,
Oh, you got a green and gold house?
Well, I've got a green and gold room.
You've decorated your rooms green and gold?
Yes.
Well,
every single one of them. All of them.
That's top redness stuff. You are the most anti-glazer person I've ever met who's actually decorated his house. Green and gold. I love all that, mate.
We've got it painted on the roof, glazes out, so anybody flies over, they can just see. Just make sure.
That's dedication, mate.
Is one room red and black though for the 25% that INOS have got? Is that how you've done it?
I cut out a fucking Ratcliffe in the corner, just like that.
Yeah. So Jim,
what
do you make of him? Do you like him?
He's an alright geezer. I don't know. I've never met him, so I can only judge off what I hear in the media and what I see. So
is that the criteria? You've got to have met someone.
Well, yeah. I like.
What do you think of Harold Shipman? Don't know. I've never met him.
Yeah,
so
well,
I can't possibly comment.
I like to judgment. I don't know how we got to Harold Shipman already, but I like to,
What do you make of Nelson Mandela? Didn't meet him.
I need to. I'm gonna have to change the thumbnail now and put Harold Shipman on it, aren't I? That's what I'm gonna have to do now.
No one's clicking on that at all. Let's be honest.
I'll do that.
Oh no, but all right, you've not met him, yeah, but you can form an opinion on him, can't you?
Well, no, I don't like. I like to meet the person. Someone could have said to me basically, let me iron out, a situation here. Someone could say, you know what, that Jay Motty's a dickhead. And if I just believe it as gospel,
said that, yeah.
Well, no, but if I take that as gospel, when I have this preconception of what I'm going to get from you, whereas when I actually meet you, I'm like, oh.
So you don't form an opinion on someone until you meet them.
I'd like to meet him first. Yeah.
Right. So okay, that's fair enough. I mean, me personally, yeah. If someone said, what do you think of Jimmy Savile? I'd say he's horrible. But you're like, no, give him the benefit of the doubt,
obviously,
because I never met the geezer.
When you're using
which I think is a bit outrageous. Personally,
we've had Harold Shipman and a pedo within 10 minutes of this program.
The most extreme examples ever.
Do you know what I mean? Like me personally, I'd be, okay with saying I don't like the geezer, but you'd be like, nah, he's, I don't know, I didn't meet him. It's all right. No, I'm not, slagging you off for that. I just find it a little bit strange.
Okay. Well, we can pivot back to that towards the end if needs be. Sam, do you want to keep for detaining it away from me thinking I'm a Savile sympathiser?
What about the Glazers? Have you met the Glazers?
Nope, never met him.
So have you given them the benefit of that?
Well, Avram could be a good chat. You don't know. He's a dickhead.
He's not. He's definitely not a good chat.
I think Avram Glazer looks like he's genuinely one of the worst people you can ever meet.
Yeah, and it's
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's bizarre.
What were you gonna say?
I could be that rich.
His dog in a pram, wasn't
it? Yeah.
I could be that rich and have that fucking ponytail thing. I'll keep it that rich. It's fucking stupid. Like,
I never like to slag off anyone's hair, right? Because I'm bald, as you may have noticed. But that is the worst type of being bald. Yeah. To have a greasy little ponytail that's a bit thin as well.
It's like you dropped a lollipop on the carpet, innit? That's what it looks like.
It's so gross.
Give it up.
Yeah.
And also, whenever you see him, like he does that thing, right? Where I've seen him when he stood, trying to just say he stood there listening to someone talk, and he does that.
The old
with his thumb in
pocket.
His thumb in his pocket. Yeah, I find that really weird.
I bet his thumb's elsewhere as well at night.
And even though he's a multi-millionaire, because he's absolutely rinsed our club, he still looks like a proper scruffy knobhead.
Like CEX, I can imagine walking in CEX and seeing him behind. Not saying people in CEX are scruffy, but I'm just saying I can imagine
CEX?
walking in there. It's like cash converters, basically. I can imagine Avram Glazer in a cash
It's
converter.
full of emos who don't shower very much and stink of Monster
I didn't
Energy
want to
drink.
say it, but he said it. So
Yeah.
So
yeah,
what is it? It's like a cash
It's
converter.
it's like second-hand electronics you can go buy and you can trade your stuff in as well. That's
Yeah.
What's the one in Eccles? Is that a cash converter?
That's cash converters, yeah.
Yeah, that's cash.
Famous
converters,
cash converters.
Ah, yeah. I always get cash converter and cash generator mixed up.
I mean,
Do you know what I mean? We used to go there. I used to get paid by check on a Friday, right? When I used to work in telesales when I was bag at it. And we used to work in Hardwick and we get a bus to town to cash our checks in at cash generator. Like we get paid at 4 o'clock, we get a bus to town to get there for our 4 and cash our checks in just so we could have the cash straight away rather than having to wait for 3 days by putting it in the bank.
Mate, you've never lived if you've not put a PS2 game in and gone and bought weed or something.
Yeah.
You just don't live in Eccles if that's not, you know what I mean? Everyone's done that. It's just.
But
We took our telly in there. Do you know what, right? We got a new telly and we took our old telly as cash generator in Eccles, whatever, just because I thought, just get rid of it. And I said to her, do you want to put it on Marketplace, whatever? She's just like, I just want to get rid of it. I was going to throw it away and I thought, I bet cash generator will give us something for it. So I went down there. But you know what? It was on me. You know, when you're walking through, like, I parked up at Morrison's and I carried the telly and I thought people are blatantly looking at me when I was going in there thinking, he's back at it, him in it.
Yeah.
He's blatantly just selling his telly.
Were people coming up to you going, Jay, you all right, mate? Is everything all right? Like,
got a cardboard thing that says Retford Paddock formerly member, like.
You don't think there's money in it? There isn't. Trust me. We're gonna have to sit and watch the wall tonight.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Should we try talk about football?
We can
try. We've had enough of. Listen, I don't want to carry on going on about how much you think Jimmy Savile and Aaron Shipman are all right. Let's get on with the football.
You're gonna get me cancelled, mate.
God. Jay,
sorry.
We've had an international break. United are back. Premier League football is back. Are you happy the international break's over, or are you upset that United are back and they're going to ruin your weekend again?
No, the former. I hate the international break. I do. I think. Do you know what? Yeah, why not? I think we should just scrap international football. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, I agree.
Honestly, it does my head in. We never get anything out of it, do we, as United fans? No. There's never a good moment for international football. It's either injuries or it's a hate campaign against one of our players where the media and rival fans join in. I mean, it doesn't do us any favours. And even now, like, I saw the manager's press conference earlier where he said, Ugarte's only just landed. So I don't know if he's going to be. He said he's available. Don't know if he's going to be able to start against Southampton though. It just feels like a bit of a headache, to be honest with you. So I'm not a big fan of international football. I didn't even watch the England versus Finland game because Mainu didn't start. So why would I?
Yeah.
And I just thought, you know what? Yeah, I couldn't care less about it. And I hate the fact that. Do you remember? Was it last season where we had the Queen died. So then our game against Palace, I think, got postponed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had an international break as well. And it was like, we had like 3 weeks of no football, didn't we? Or something like that. It felt like that. And it was just horrible. It was just, yeah, I'm not a big fan. It's a break you don't need 3 games into the season as well.
It's a weird time.
We don't need that now.
It's a weird time to put it in it. Like, 3 games of Premier League season and then we go on break for 2. Like, it's a weird place to put it.
It is. Yeah, it does matter. I'm not a fan.
Should we let's carry on? Let's get rid of England and talking about Matthijs de Ligt getting absolutely slaughtered by the Dutch press.
What did you make of that, actually? I want to ask you about that because I did a video on it and I was like, I'd seen it and I sort of thought, okay, he didn't cover himself in glory. I didn't do a video on that. It was part of my news, by the way. And I just sort of said he was getting slaughtered. Yeah, okay. Made a couple of mistakes without coming across as, xenophobic, whatever. I know the Dutch can be quite brutal sometimes in their comments and stuff. And,
especially.
You know what I mean? Like they don't take any prisoners, did they? We learned that with Louis. And to a lesser degree with Ten Hag. But then like I had a lot of people in the comments, like it was sort of overstated how bad he was, and he weren't that bad. And you look at the mistakes, it wasn't just on him, it was collectively, the team wasn't great. So maybe there was a bit of a United tax in the sense that because he plays United now, people were sort of more than willing to stick the knife in with
open
him.
season, innit?
There was a little bit of that. Yeah, I feel there was an element of that where, yes, you could criticise and question him, but I think some people went OTT, including maybe even some of his teammates.
Every world-class centre-back's made a mistake. World-class keeper, like And obviously, when it does happen, thankfully, we're a World Cup or Euros. It's a Nations League that no one gives a bollocks about, in my opinion. So I don't care. He makes mistakes. It happens. He likes to play out from the back. He's decent on the ball. It's going to happen from time to time. I hope it doesn't happen in a big situation with Manchester United. I hope it doesn't become a reoccurrence like it did with Maguire for a bit. If you remember when he was just like constantly making mistakes.
He looked good.
As long as it doesn't happen again, then I don't mind.
He looked good against Liverpool. He's one of the few players that actually looked all right against Liverpool. Like a lot of the players didn't go. So as long as he plays well for United, I couldn't give a toss how he plays for Netherlands.
Do you know what? It's a really good point, and he did look good against Liverpool. And I think people sort of dismiss and ignore how difficult or how long it can take to form a centre-back partnership. It's not just one game. That was his first start, I think, for Manchester United, and it's against Liverpool. It's going to take a little while for him and Minus to fully get on board. And it can take, like, some partnerships, it takes a couple of years for him to get. I'm not saying that's going to happen with them two, but, it can take a while before you fully, when he's going to go and you're going to drop and all the rest of it, and you get that understanding. And there will be a level of that because the two experienced players are also very, very talented centre-backs. But it's going to take time for that partnership to be properly formed. And I think people are just dismissing it after one start together. And dismissing him more than Martinez, because Martinez, obviously, everyone loves him. So, yeah, I'm not saying United fans are doing that, by the way. I thought he did well against Liverpool. He was one of our better players. I liked his leadership. I liked the fact he was constantly talking to his players around him. Martinez has got a bit of that as well. And I think those two can be a very, very good partnership for Manchester United, hopefully, for the next few years to come.
Yeah, speaking of overreactions, we've had a pretty awful start. Fulham, unconvincing win. Capitulation against Brighton. Scouser, I'd rather not talk about it and dwell on it, but lost 3-0. Are fans right to be losing their minds at this point in the season after last season's utter disaster in the Premier League? Or do you think it's too early days yet and we need to just give it time and let Ten Hag get his players and get the system working?
I think fans have every right to be concerned about Erik Ten Hag's future. I'll be honest with you, because I'm one of those fans, and I back Ten Hag. I have backed Ten Hag to the hilt, and I continue to take pelters for it. But I'm not stupid. Well, I'm not that stupid, where I can't see this is a man who's under pressure. Now, we can talk about we're only 3 games in, and us 3, I'd like to think we're all relatively reasonable. We get that, and we understand that. And okay, you've lost 2 of the first 3 games. Brighton could have gone either way. Let's have it right. It could have. That Garnacho disallowed goal, it's just bad luck. It really is. That for me, that's not disallowed. We win that game. We don't just draw it, we win it. And yes, we should have done better defensively, but I still think that's one of those where actually the performance wasn't that bad. It was actually quite good. The Liverpool game, poor performance by 1 or 2 players. Well, probably a little few more than that. And also you're playing against a very good team. Don't let the fact that they're a bit up and down in terms of league finishes fool you. They've got some world-class players, Mo Salah being one of them, who punishes us far too often. But my point is, you had a manager who finished 8th last season. If you lose at Southampton to a team that's just finished 19th, that's sat in 19th, who's just been promoted, you're going to be under pressure. You really are. There's no 2 ways about it. And it doesn't matter how much me, you, or anyone else backs him or believes he's the right man for the job. The question is, do INOS. Now, INOS have already interviewed other managers at the end of last season. Now, they'll say, we wanted to get everyone in, or wanted to have a look at everyone to make sure we had the right man for the job. Listen, unless he said he was retiring, I don't remember anyone interviewing other managers when Fergie was the boss. I don't see Arsenal interviewing other managers. I don't see City interviewing other managers. You interview other managers when you're not happy with the one you got. So don't care how they want to spin it. They interviewed other managers because they weren't 100% certain on Erik Ten Hag. So that, to me, is a manager's under pressure. He's not got the full support of the owners. He might have it to a certain degree. And look, they gave him that extension, which technically wasn't an extension. It was like they took up the option of the further year. But they didn't give him a new deal. They didn't go, here's a 3-year new deal. They didn't go, we're not going to interview anyone because we've got the right man for the job. We know that. And you can't help but shake that feeling that had he lost that game at Wembley, then he might not be in a job right now. Certainly not a job at Manchester United. So I do feel the manager's under pressure. And I feel that that's not people losing their minds. I think that's people being pretty logical about it.
Well, how long has it got? Look, with the first 3 games, he's lost 2, 1-1, right? You've got, I think after the international break, well, obviously when it finishes now, you've got Southampton, Palace, 20, Barnsley and Spurs. I think not in that order, but roughly we've got them next 5 games, which is a pretty favourable run, right? You would think you want to get a good 3 or 4 wins out of that at least, and maybe a draw to Spurs. If he draws even against Southampton, are they going to be knee-jerk? Because they've just gone and backed him with all these players. They've put it out there, you know, we're giving him a new contract. If they got rid of him after 4 or 5 games, that'd be shocking, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would, but sometimes shocking things happen in football. And I think you look at those games, look at Southampton. Let's say worst case scenario, you lose at Southampton. The pressure's on you there. And let's say you have another result similar to the one you had at Selhurst Park last season. Are INOS going to stick with this guy if you're losing to the likes of Palace and Southampton and Brighton and Liverpool? Probably not. And I don't think winning against Barnsley in FC20, even if he did that, would be enough. I feel like Erik ten Hag has got to take some points from these next few games. I feel like he's at that stage now where he has to get, at least for me, I'd probably say minimum 7 points out of them 4 games. The Palace, Southampton, Villa, and Spurs games, the next 4 league games. I feel like you need to win at least 2 of them. Like, you might get away with it if you draw 3 and 1, but I don't know. I feel like he's at that point now where every manager has a crunch time in their career. Now, some managers have a crunch time and they get through it. Fergie had one in March or whenever it's January 1990. It looked like he was done for. We go away at Forest, we win. Now, you know, you'll hear people saying, well, we weren't actually going to sack him. If we'd have got knocked out of the FA Cup that season, don't forget, we finished 13th that season. Does he keep his job after he's been in it for 3.5 years and we're just finishing 13th and we've been knocked out of the FA Cup in the 3rd round? I doubt it.
Fans wanted him gone. Fans were chanting for him to go.
Fans, Pete Molyneux had his banner, didn't he? Sarah Fergie. No one was telling him to take it down. So I think that if we're being brutally honest, Erik ten Hag is at the crunch time of his United career. He probably was at the end of last season as well. It's probably carried on with the FA Cup game and now the beginning of this season. It's probably that spell. Now, had he won those first 3 games, he'd have probably made himself safe for another few months, but he didn't, so he hasn't. So I feel like now people are looking at him, and because you've got games that are winnable, Palace is a winnable game. I know it's a difficult ground to go to, but it's a winnable game. Spurs at home, if you want to win a football match and get a bit of credit for winning a football match, Spurs at home is perfect because it's a big team who play a high line, who can be beaten, who do lose a lot of football matches, even under Postecoglou, and yet people will go, oh, you beat Spurs, well done. Decent, that. It's ideal for you. But the flip side is you lose at home to Spurs, okay, now, you got some explaining to do. So I do feel like this is crunch time for Erik ten Hag. I do. I feel like these next few games, he has to take, like I said, 7 points out of the next 4 games. It was us, 7 points out of the next 3 probably, at least. I think the Villa game you might get a pass with if you if you've took, if you've got some points on the board and you go to Villa Park and you lose, it's not the end of the world. But he's got to get at least 2 wins out of the next 3 games minimum.
Yeah, the manager had his press conference today. I think you covered it as well, like on Paddock. He confirmed Højlund and Shaw not available for this game. The Shaw one is doing my head in, but I'll leave that for another time. How much do you think that affects him getting points from these next couple of games, not having Shaw, not having Højlund available to the team?
It's obviously frustrating. The Luke Shaw one, don't get me started.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just absolutely shambolic, innit? We've got a player who's not played for Manchester United since February. And in the meantime, he's played, twice for England. I just can't get my head around it.
He said he was available as well after the international break. It's the international break and he's not available. It's like...
What's going on? It's just a farce. It really is. And he's our only left-footed left-back available. So that's a bit of a shambles. Højlund... The annoying thing with Højlund is, I think he needs a big season this season. I thought Højlund did well last season. I feel like, was he 17 goals, 16, 17 goals in all competitions? Did well. Played well in terms of his performance. Yeah. But there was that big chunk of games to start with in the Premier League where he didn't score.
Yeah.
And I think people are looking at him now and going, okay, you've had a season to settle in the Premier League. Now you've got to show us that you're good enough to be number 9 for Manchester United, that you can be our striker. And this is why I wanted to see that this season. I think we will see that. But obviously picking up that injury in pre-season is just devastating for the kid. So it is frustrating that both those players are out. I like Xerxes. I think he's a good player. I like Mazraoui. I think he's a very good player.
Yeah, very good.
Which means Delo moving over to left. But I do think you're missing something. I think both those players start for Manchester United. So it is frustrating that neither of them are available.
I was going to touch on the outside noise, because we've spoken about Erik ten Hag in depth quite a bit. I want to ask you about the Ronaldo situation. I know we kind of touched on it a little bit last night as well, but this situation, he was obviously going to get asked about it. I'm not a fan of it in the media. I know why they asked Ronaldo's name, and I prefer more tactical questions, just an individual thing. But he was always going to get asked about it, saying, should a manager be coming out and saying, we're not going for the Premier League? Because I said, in the circumstance it was in, we finished 35 points behind City, right, Jay? We finished 6th. Awful end to the season. Can a manager then come in and go, we're going to win the league?
I don't have a problem with it, because I feel like as fans, we can say to anyone who's coming, and I say it every time we win. But as a manager, he's a bit damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. Yeah. If we've just finished 8th and you've brought a load of players who, with all due respect to them, probably only, I'd argue, when everyone is fit, maybe only Manuel Ugarte starts for you, and he didn't even have him at the beginning of the season, then you look a bit deluded. Sorry. But you look a bit deluded if you go, right, well, we've brought in, some squad players and a couple of players who are going to start, and now we're going to go from 8th to 1st. People go, you're on about, you've lost the plot. So I get why he's saying, look, it's a process. First of all, we get back into the Champions League, then we challenge for titles. And I think most fans feel like that as well. I feel like that, for me, feels like the sort of progression of this team, how it should be. So I understand it. And I think when Ronaldo said that, A, there's a little bit of mischief making because him and ten Hag don't get on. And B, Ronaldo's Manchester United opinion is probably coming from a time when United were winning titles. Even though he's been here when we haven't, he's probably still got that mindset where he's like, at Manchester United, you should aspire to win titles. You should expect to win titles and challenge for titles. But Ronnie was here when we finished, 6th under Ragnick. He knows what can go on at this club. He knows what's happened at this club. So I do feel like with Erik ten Hag, I'm not too dismayed by the fact he didn't say we're going to win the league. I feel like this season, get back into the Champions League, or at least progress, show some progression from last season, get your league form back on track because it's been woeful. And then next season, you can start thinking about challenging.
I want to move on to transfers. We touched on the left back thing. I think left back was such a needed position in the summer, but I understand that we can't address every position every summer. It's not possible. The several media outlets reported we're targeting Eze, a winger next summer, a midfielder, and a left back. Obviously, I've touched on the sort of left back thing. Do you like this new approach from INOS? Do you like this new approach of we know what the targets we're going after and we're going to execute them several times? There was a report today from Rob Dawson about how they felt more confident being able to sort of do several deals at the same time. Do you like the way INOS are operating in the transfer market, even though we didn't quite get everybody that we needed this summer?
I do. I feel like as a fan, right, there's something almost a little bit comforting about not having this boom and bust approach. As a fan, we love it. Let's face facts, right? We all love a huge signing, right? We do. We love it. I loved it when we signed Angel Di Maria and Radamel Falcao. I loved it when we signed Paul Pogba. I loved it even when we bought Maguire. I was like, great defender, nice one. Why not? Yeah? Sancho, I was buzzing when we got him. And yet, almost all those signings underwhelmed. You need a bit more of a sensible approach. Sorry?
Keep that in mind for later. I've got something for you.
All right. Because you need a bit more of a sensible approach. You need a bit more than just going out and buying the most expensive midfielder in the world, or the most expensive defender in the world, or buying one of the most expensive attackers in the world, as we did with Lukaku. You need something that's a bit more measured, where you go, okay, we need strengthening in 5 areas, so let's get 5 players in for those areas. Now, they might not be ready right now, but in the case of Lenny Yoro, that's a player that in the future could play many times, for many years for Manchester United. In the case of Joshua Zirkzee, he's a player who can do your job now, but even in a few years, he'll be even better. And also, he gives you something different to the players you've got available. I like that. It's sensible. And whilst that might not be as exciting as going out and getting, some of the big money signings we've got, the Casemiros and even the Antonys of this world, at the time you go, oh, we've spent 80 million on a winger. That must be great. Then you realise he's terrible. it doesn't make any. It makes more sense to do what we're doing now. So I do like the sensible approach. The only issue you've got with it is it does require a bit of patience, and that's in short supply as a football fan, and certainly as a Manchester United fan.
You rightfully mentioned some of the signings there that have really been a miss when you talk about hit and miss. And what I actually wanted to do, you give me the perfect segue there, Jay. So have you heard of the concept King of the Hill, where you put two players against each other, you go up, and then, you know, whoever the last one is, like it'd be Cantona or Ronaldo, for example, would win.
Is it like last man standing kind of thing?
Basically, yeah. But what we're going to do is King of the Flop. So we're going to go through our worst signings, or most disappointing, I would say. I'm going to give you two names, and you just say which one was more of a disappointment in your humble opinion. Yeah?
Okay.
Okay. So we'll start off easy. Schweinsteiger, Schneiderlin.
Bastian Schweinsteiger. Let's go to Sebastian. Bastian Schweinsteiger against Liverpool at Old Trafford in Martial's debut is one of the greatest performances by a midfielder I have ever seen in my entire life.
The only one, though. That was the only.
And anyone who tells you otherwise is deluded. So just based on that alone, he stays.
Okay. So he's more of a flop.
Oh, sorry. Schneiderlin's more of a flop.
Fellaini or Schneiderlin?
I love Fellaini. Schneiderlin's more of a flop.
Okay. Van der Beek?
Fellaini won 3 trophies playing in 3 finals. Let's not forget that.
Okay.
People want to dismiss him. Do you know what I mean? But the guy won more trophies than most players who've played for United post-Ferguson.
Was he ever a United player, though, Fellaini?
He did a job. He did the job that was asked of him. But let's not forget, there were some moments people act like he was terrible. He won 3 finals.
The last minute winner.
That 4-2 against City. I remember watching him absolutely bully Yaya Toure. I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was amazing. So it wasn't a complete flop. Yes, he's a bit ungainly, and in an ideal world, you wouldn't be relying on the Mauro and Fellaini's of this world. But we were in an ideal world. We're in a world of David Moyes and Louis van Gaal.
So you answer, Jay?
The biggest flop was Schneiderlin still.
Okay. Van der Beek or Fellaini?
Van der Beek was a bigger flop.
Yeah. Van der Beek or Fred?
Van der Beek was a bigger flop than Fred.
Anderson?
Van der Beek. Anderson won, what was it, 4 or 5 Premier League titles?
I'm not having anything against Anderson.
No, I'm throwing names in there.
Scored in a Champions League. Yeah. Scored a penalty with his first touch, didn't he?
Yeah. Quite a big price tag from Porto at the time, though, wasn't it? Was it 33 million or something? I think they paid.
Listen, you know what I love about Anderson, right? He left United, and then on his debut for his new club, had to add oxygen.
I saw that.
At the start because he was that knackered.
Guys, that is nuts, isn't it?
That is elite.
He
scored. I absolutely love that.
He scored in the 8-2 against Arsenal at Old Trafford as well. I was there for that. I think it was a free kick, I think. I remember that, and he was doing like a dance right in front of us at the end. That's the memory I have of Anderson.
Yeah, Anderson was all right, man. He's a bit of a cult hero.
Had a great chant. Van der Beek over Veron?
Oh, Van der Beek. Veron was very good in the Champions League, and there was some good games with Veron. I think the 5-3 away at Spurs was a particularly good one. There's a couple of others as well. He scored a few free kicks and a few decent goals as well. So yeah, I think Veron was the right player at the wrong time for Manchester United. I think he'd be mint now, where you get football's a little bit more progressive than it was back then.
Yeah,
and I think you'd love him now. But yeah, he was great in Italy, not so great in Manchester United, but still had moments. Van der Beek is the bigger flop for me.
Van der Beek or Di Maria?
It's a good one, that.
Oh, we've got him on this one. Been stumped.
Di Maria actually had a decent start to his United career. People forget that.
That chip against Leicester.
Leicester, yeah. Good performance.
I'm going to go Di Maria's bigger flop just because the expectation from Di Maria was higher. And he was such a good player. And also, the way he left and everything and afterwards became a right circus.
Oh,
so I think the expectation sort of puts Di Maria as a bigger flop than Van der Beek. Di
Maria or Sancho?
I think Di Maria is a bigger flop. Sancho did next to nothing, but I think he did play. I think he's played about 50 games for United, and he's Sancho, and he's something like, I can't remember. I don't know the exact figure, and he has got like a few goals and assists. Whereas I think Di Maria, other than that first sort of 2 or 3 months, was just shocking.
Okay, Di Maria going strong. Di Maria or Pogba? Last few now.
Di Maria is a bigger flop than Paul Pogba.
Okay.
Paul Pogba, it's weird to call him a flop. I think
for 90 million. Did he?
That's the issue. The price tag.
Yeah.
which I think, not to be pedantic, I think it was 89 million, but I'll get right, you've rounded it up. Saying.
Oh, come on. Do
you know what I mean? Who are you, the son? But I think like the thing with Pogba is there was some very good games with Paul Pogba. There's probably more than you think. He just wasn't as good as we needed him to be. That was the issue. I think we thought he was going to be this midfielder that was going to elevate us. And also he got injured there's never a good time to get injured, but he got injured at crucial times. He missed, I think, a third of his games or quarter of his games at United. It's too many of that.
Yeah.
So for me, Di Maria is still a bigger flop.
Sam, would you agree with that?
Yeah, because Di Maria is such promise, wasn't it? Like, you watch him for Real Madrid and stuff like that, you're like, this player's insane. And then just never happened. And then his wife absolutely slaughtered Manchester's. Was it her who said Manchester looked like the back of a fridge? Was that her?
Oh,
something like that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I was like,
I don't know what fridges she's fucking looking at.
How fucking dare you?
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
I mean, look, where else have they been? Madrid and Paris. They're shitholes.
Yeah. Come to Eccles, she would have stayed then. If she came to Eccles,
exactly.
she'd be like,
you ain't got a cash converters in Paris.
No.
Well, you probably have, actually.
Yeah. Cash converter. Anyway, Di Maria or Falcao?
Do you know what I might say?
Is it Di Maria still going strong? Oh,
Falcao. I think Falcao. I don't know.
A reputation.
Falcao, I probably had bigger hopes for Falcao than I did for Di Maria.
You was the same, weren't you, Sam?
I was excited. When we saw it, I was like, oh my God, we're going to get someone special here.
Yeah. Was his nickname the Tiger or something like that? El Tiger?
And he didn't do anything. He wasn't, to be fair to Falcao, I don't think he was fit when we got him. I don't think he ever got fully fit.
Yeah.
So I think Falcao for me, just because I was so looking forward to seeing him and he was just so disappointed.
Falcao or Maguire?
Falcao. I think Maguire played, 200 odd games for United? Got to give him some credit. Sure. He's probably not the player we wanted him to be, but I think it's harsh to say he's been a complete failure because I don't think he has. Radamel Falcao was a complete failure at Manchester United. He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire has done things for Manchester United. He has played his part for Manchester United.
Played well for United at times.
Yeah. He's probably played over 100 games where he's actually been good.
Okay, are you ready for this one? You described this man last night as a £15 million player. Falcao or Anthony?
Anthony is the bigger flop. Oh, honestly. Anthony is just... Do you know what, actually? No. I can't say that. Because I feel like... You know what? I can because of the price tag. I was going to say Anthony did some decent things in his first season. He scored 3 goals in his first 3 games. The goal against Barcelona. He scored against City.
Arsenal.
He scored against Liverpool. Arsenal. There's moments there. Yeah. There's more moments than Falcao's got. But Falcao didn't cost you 80 million quid. And also, I feel like Anthony, the repercussions of that signing were kind of felt for the next year. It was like every time United are involved in a transfer, now it's like, well, you paid 80 million for Anthony.
Yep.
So... And also with Anthony, there's just the whole circus that goes on around him. He's just bad vibes. So yeah, I'd probably go Anthony just because of the price tag.
Sam?
Yeah, Anthony, man. Like, there's the amount of money that it's cost us and the fact that Ajax knew they were having us over a barrel just to charge us as much as they wanted. Yeah.
That's reactionary, wasn't it? Rather than being proactive.
Yeah. Should have walked away from the deal.
And the ultimate one, and again, people in the chat, let us know your thoughts. I know you've been joining with some of them. Anthony or Alexis Sanchez, who's a worse signing? And this is the king of the flops.
Yeah, this is a good question, this. Because for me, it's always been Alexis Sanchez who's United's biggest flop. Mm-hmm. Because of the expectation, because of how bad he was.
The wages.
And everything else that went on. It's difficult. It's difficult, man. This is such a...
we need some, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire music.
I know, and I need to phone a friend. I'm probably going to say... I'll probably just go Alexis Sanchez.
Okay, what's the reason? What's edged you just over?
I feel like with Sanchez, even though we feel the repercussions of Anthony, I feel like the wages with Sanchez were felt for a long time. And I feel like with Sanchez, I saw him at Arsenal and he was amazing. And he destroyed Matteo Darmian, didn't he, against us?
Nick's favourite player.
He was unreal. And you saw what he did at Arsenal. To get a player from Arsenal was like, it felt like Van Persie all over again, you know, their best player, basically. They were fuming. We were buzzing. We knew what he was about. And other than the game against Yeovil on his debut, I think he got man of the match, he was dreadful. And I think with Anthony, there was a bit of unknown. And I kind of questioned it a little bit when we were linked with him before we bought Anthony, because we did a video or a live, me and Joe. And I said, just going off his numbers, it's a bit underwhelming. His numbers in that last season at Ajax were, I think, 8 goals and 4 assists in an Ajax team that absolutely dominated possession, dominated the league, but won almost every game. I think it was very close at the top, but Ajax won like nearly every game. And yet he didn't put up big numbers. And that concerned me a bit because I thought, is he going to, usually when you get a player like that and you think, okay, if he's scoring, say, 15 goals and 10 assists in the Dutch league, he might get half that in the Premier League because it's a tougher league and it's or whatever. And I thought if he's getting 8 goals and 4 assists, if he gets half that, which is kind of what he did.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bit underwhelming. But then there was a part of me that thought, well, he's 21 at the time, I think he was. He's, you know, he'll kick on and he's got a manager that knows him. But yeah, he just didn't. So whilst I had a little bit of expectation because of the price tag, it was tempered slightly by the numbers. With a Sanchez, I thought he was going to be. I honestly thought we would win a title with him. I don't know, that sounds crazy, but I thought City were in for him as well.
Yep.
That interest was real because I used to do City press conferences, and I remember chatting to journalists just before United went for him, and everyone was saying Sanchez to City is a done deal. That's going to happen in January. This was like, you know, Christmas time or whatever. They were like, look, that is going to be the January deal that City have been working on, and they're going to get it over the line. Arsenal have sort of admitted defeat, you know, sort of got to the point now where they've resigned themselves to the fact they're going to lose him. He's got, and I said main road, he's got the Etihad. And then when we got him, you think, this is amazing. Mkhitaryan hadn't really been doing what we wanted him to do, so there's no great loss there. And then you bring in a player who's played really well against us, whose numbers in the Premier League are good. City were in for him, and we got him from under their noses, and we took him from Arsenal. And yet, he was fucking shite.
Yeah. Sam, you get the decider on that, because obviously if you go the opposite way, then, well, I'll get the decider if you do.
I agree. Sanchez is the worst one. The wages, what was he on, 400k a week? He said he arrived 500 grand. Sorry, he said he arrived at Carrington and immediately wanted to go home. Didn't want to be there day one. It's like that. He's the worst. He's the worst by far.
Yeah. Okay.
Should we,
I was gonna say for the last 5 minutes, you do a couple of questions in the chat.
I've got them in. I've got them in here. Jay, if we lose against Southampton and play badly, how will you feel towards the manager?
Good question. I think if we lose against Southampton and play badly, I might lose faith with him. I don't think we will, but if that happens, you've got a question: has this manager got it in him to turn this around? I don't like saying that because I've backed him all the way. But if we lose and play badly, I will question him definitely.
Macmillan, Jay, flip flops or sliders?
Sliders.
Nice. Brian Casey, shout out to Brian Casey in the chat. Jay, what's the best thing about YouTube being your full-time job? Would you recommend it?
Yeah, I would recommend it if you can do. The best thing about YouTube being your full-time job is that's a good question, actually. It's a good job because you can do it anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to necessarily, like when I used to report, you had to obviously go out and report, but you can do YouTube anywhere you want. Nick's doing it in his bathroom, you're doing it in your bedroom.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? There's no, I've got to go with it. So that's what I quite enjoy, because when I need to do stuff in my kitchen, I do it from my kitchen. When I need to do stuff in the studio, I'm going to do in the studio. You can sort of do things late at night. You can just go, right, we're going to do a live now. You can have that spontaneity as well. Like, oh, some news has happened. Let's go do breaking news. I like that. I like and also you can collaborate, man. I can go on your channel, which I love doing, go on other channels. So yeah, I would say the best thing about YouTube for me is just that ability to just sort of do it. Almost anyone can do YouTube anywhere. And if you can make a career out of it, then by all means do, man. Do you know what I mean? Look at what you guys are doing. You're growing the channel, getting good guests. And I don't mean me when I say that, but the likes of, I think you had Ian Irving on the other day.
Yeah, we did.
You have, you've had Laurie Whitwell, you've had Kieran Maguire. you know what I mean? You guys are doing it the right way because you're doing it from a very high standard straight away, which I respect. So yeah, everyone can do it differently. Some people do it on the phone, from the the car. And when I say some people, Howson, who's got
all the time,
one of the bigger audience than I have, well, he'll do videos on his phone from the car when he wants to do that instant reaction to stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. Other times you'll do it from the studio, whatever. So yeah, I think that's what I like about it. The fact you're able to do it from anywhere and you can collaborate with anyone. And also as well with YouTube, great opportunities can happen that you don't see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at this now. Prime
exactly.
Of it. There you go.
Yeah, man.
Final question from Willman United 99. Jay, do you reckon we'll see a Rashford purple patch again, or do you reckon his heart's not in it to be at United and wants to leave?
I'm praying, man. I'm praying to the footballing gods, to the gods of Withenshaw, to anyone who's above me, who's watching. I would love a Marcus Rashford purple patch. I would. The way I feel about Marcus Rashford is similar to how I feel about Erik ten Hag. I back him. I still have faith, but he has to deliver soon. He has to.
Yep.
Like, we are running out of time. And that might sound crazy for a player that scored the amount of goals that Marcus Rashford scored, but he's had a bad season last season. He needs to show it this season, because otherwise there's a scenario where the manager either loses faith with him or a new manager comes in who, because if Marcus doesn't score, the team aren't winning and Erik ten Hag gets the boot. A new manager comes in, he doesn't owe Marcus anything. He didn't give him a 30-goal season, and he might go, look, you've not been playing well for 18 months, whatever. You're not for me. So, yes, I think, A, I want to see a purple patch. B, I think we will see one. But we need to see it sooner rather than later, because I feel like Marcus is he's on a bit of a crossroads, like Erik ten Hag is, and it pains me to say it about a player that I do still love, but he has to deliver. He really got to deliver now.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it, with Southampton looming over the weekend. And I don't have to go anyway, because with me being in the bath, I'm getting wrinkly fingers now. So I think 40 minutes in the bath is a little bit too long. Jay, you're a legend. We know we appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much for coming on. And yeah, what's going on for the next couple of days? What will you be doing? Where will you be at?
Well, we've got, I think Off the Bar has just come out now, so you can go and check that out once this is finished. Me, Howson, and McCullough on that one. Talk about Ronaldo, Ugarte, City's 115 charges, all that stuff. We've got the watch along on Saturday for the Southampton game and a bit of reaction to that as well. And just the usual stuff, man. Doing Scotty and Motty, doing my stuff with Scotty, and I'm doing stuff with you guys, and obviously Stretford Paddock. So yeah, always busy. I'm always happy to come. And
I've just put a link to in the chat to Off the Bar. So yeah, go once you've finished here, go over there, watch that. And then if you've not watched it, go watch Nick on Paddock Live last night. Did a really top job. So please do go check that out.
10 out of 10. Fucking 10 out of 10. Yeah. Right. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you to Jay. Thank you to Sam. And no doubt we'll be seeing you shortly. Take it easy, everyone.
Peace.